You think people care about you. They don't. You think your presence matters. It doesn't. You think that showing up, being consistent, being available makes you valuable. It makes you invisible. Here's the truth that will shatter your carefully constructed social reality. The more you exist in their world, the less you exist in their mind. The more they see you, the less they see you. You have become wallpaper, background noise, furniture, and the sickest part, you did this to yourself. You gave them unlimited access to you. You made yourself common, and in doing so, you made yourself worthless. Niccolo Machiavelli understood something about human nature that most people will live their entire lives without grasping. He understood that familiarity doesn't breed contempt. It breeds indifference, and indifference is worse than hatred. When someone hates you, you occupy space in their mind. You matter. You are a force they must contend with. But when someone is indifferent to you, you are already dead to them. You are a ghost haunting a world that has moved on without you. The power of being forgotten is not about disappearing because you are weak. It is not about running away because you are hurt. It is about strategically removing yourself from a market that has taken you for granted so that when you return, if you return, they remember what they lost. This is the law of scarcity. This is the dark art of absence. And if you master it, you will never beg for attention again. You will command it. But be warned, what I am about to teach you will change how you see every relationship in your life. Your friends, your family, your romantic partners, your colleagues. Once you see the strings, once you understand the economics of human attention, you cannot unsee it. You will realize that most of your relationships are not relationships at all. They are habits. And habits are broken the moment the stimulus is removed. Are you ready to find out who actually values you? Are you ready to discover that the answer might be no one? Let's begin. So why are you so desperate to be remembered? Why does the thought of being forgotten terrify you more than death itself? It starts where everything starts. Childhood. You were a child once, small, helpless, dependent. Your survival was contingent on being noticed. If your parents forgot about you, you died. If the tribe forgot about you, you were left behind. Being forgotten was a death sentence, so your brain wired itself to avoid invisibility at all costs. You learned to perform. You learned to seek validation. You learned that presence equals safety, but you are not a child anymore, and the world is not your parent. The people around you are not responsible for remembering you exist. Yet here you are, sending the good morning text, liking every post, showing up to every event, responding to every message within seconds. You think this makes you a good friend, a good partner, a good person. It doesn't. It makes you a doormat. It makes you predictable. And predictability is the death of desire. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must never be too accessible. He understood that the moment the people could walk into the palace whenever they wanted, the palace lost its power. The throne became a chair. The crown became a hat. Power is not about being present. It is about being scarce. When you are always available, you signal to the world that you have nothing better to do. You signal that your time has no value. You signal that you are waiting for them to give your life meaning. And the world despises that. The world punishes availability with indifference. Think about the last time someone canceled on you. How did you feel? Disappointed, maybe angry. But what happened the next day? You texted them again. You made yourself available again. You sent the message that their rejection had no consequence. You taught them that your presence was not scarce. It was abundant, cheap, free. Now think about the last time you canceled on someone. What happened? They probably texted you asking when you were free again. They probably apologized for something they didn't do. They probably tried to accommodate your schedule. Why? Because in that moment, you became scarce. You became valuable. You became worth pursuing. This is the trap of the validating self. You believe that if you just show up enough, care enough, give enough, people will appreciate you. They will see your value. They will give you the love and respect you deserve. But that is not how human psychology works. Human beings do not value what is freely given. They value what is difficult to obtain. They value what they might lose. When you make yourself permanently available, you remove the possibility of loss. And when there is no possibility of loss, there is no appreciation. There is only apathy. You need to understand something fundamental about social dynamics. Attention is a currency. And like all currencies, it is subject to the laws of supply and demand. When you flood the market with your attention, you devalue it. When you are in every group chat, at every gathering, available for every coffee, responding to every tag, you are printing your own currency into worthlessness. You are creating inflation. And in an inflated market, no one wants to hold your currency because they know they can get it anytime they want. But what happens when you withdraw? What happens when you stop responding immediately? When you stop showing up to every event? When you stop liking every post? When you stop being the first to reach out? Panic, confusion, curiosity. Suddenly your currency is scarce. Suddenly people wonder where you are, what you are doing, who you are with. Suddenly your attention is worth something again because they cannot take it for granted. This is not manipulation. This is economics. You are not playing games. You are correcting a market failure. You have been undervaluing yourself. You have been giving away your most precious resource, your time, your energy, your presence, for free. And the market responded exactly as markets do. It took everything you offered and gave you nothing in return. The power of being forgotten is not about hurting people. It is about teaching them what your presence is actually worth. Let's talk about social media for a moment. You are addicted to it. Not because it makes you happy, but because it gives you the illusion of connection. You post, you wait, you refresh, you see who liked it, who commented, who viewed your story, and in that moment, you feel seen. You feel like you exist. But what are you actually doing? You are making yourself hyper-visible. You are updating the world on your location, your mood, your thoughts, your breakfast every single day. You are removing all mystery, all scarcity, all power. Think about the people you are most fascinated by, the ones you actually wonder about, the ones you click on when you see they posted something. Are they the people posting 10 times a day? Are they the people in every comment section? No, they are the ghosts, the ones who disappear for weeks, the ones who show up randomly with something interesting and then vanish again. You check their profile. You wonder what they have been doing, where they have been, why they haven't posted. You are hungry for information about them because information about them is scarce. Now think about yourself. Are you a ghost? Or are you wallpaper? Are you the person people wonder about? Or are you the person people scroll past because they have already seen you 5 times today? You know the answer, and it makes you uncomfortable because you have been operating under the delusion that visibility equals value. It doesn't. Visibility equals exhaustion. The world is exhausted by you, not because you are a bad person, but because you are everywhere. And when something is everywhere, it is nowhere. it becomes nothing. Machiavelli advised that it is better to be feared than loved. But in the context of social dynamics, let me translate that. It is better to be missed than to be present. Missing you requires your absence. Being present requires your submission. When you are always there, you are not loved, you are tolerated. When you are absent, you are either missed or forgotten. And here is the brutal filter. If you are forgotten, they never valued you in the first place. Better to know that now than to waste years performing for an audience that was never watching. So how do you deploy strategic absence? How do you become scarce without becoming irrelevant? It starts with a decision, a cold, calculated decision. You are going to stop being the first to reach out. You are not going to initiate conversations for the next 30 days. Not with friends. Not with romantic interests. Not with colleagues unless it is work-related. You are going to see who reaches out to you, who notices your absence, who asks if you are okay. This is the audit. This is where you find out who actually cares. Most people will fail this test. You will hear nothing. The group chat will continue without you. The friend who you always texted first will not text you at all. The person you thought was your best friend will not notice you are gone. This will hurt. It will hurt because you will realize that your presence was not a gift. It was a habit. And habits are not mourned when they are broken. But some people will reach out. 1, 2, maybe 3. These are your people. These are the relationships that have actual weight. Everyone else? They were tourists in your life. And you were tourist in theirs. Next, you are going to curate your social media presence. You are going to post less, much less, once a week at most. And when you post, it is going to be interesting. Not your breakfast, not your workout, not your vague quote about growth. Something that makes people stop. Something that makes them think. Something that makes them want to know more. And then you are going to disappear again. No stories, no reels, no engagement. Just silence. Let them wonder. Let them speculate. Let them check your profile to see if you posted something they missed. You are also going to stop being available on demand. When someone texts you, you are going to wait. Not hours, not days. But you are not going to respond in 30 seconds like a trained dog. You are going to finish what you are doing. You are going to prioritize your time. And then, when it is convenient for you, you will respond. This is not rudeness. This is boundaries. You are teaching people that your attention is not a public utility. It is a private resource that must be earned. And here is the crucial part. When you do show up, you are going to be fully present. No phone, no distraction, no half listening while thinking about what you are going to say next. You are going to give them the full weight of your focus, because that is what scarcity does. It makes your presence valuable. When you are always around, your presence is diluted. But when you are rare, when you are deliberate, your presence becomes an event. People will remember the conversations they had with you because they don't happen every day. They will value your time because they know it is not freely given. This is the paradox. The less you are around, the more you are valued. The less you speak, the more weight your words carry. The less you perform, the more interesting you become. You are training people to respect your absence so that they appreciate your presence. And if they don't, if they forget you entirely, then you have lost nothing, because they never valued you in the first place. You were occupying space in a relationship that did not exist. Now let's talk about the psychology of the people who forget you, because this is where it gets dark. When you disappear and someone does not notice, it is not because they are busy. It is not because they forgot to text back. It is because you were never a priority. You were filler. You were the person they talked to when they were bored, when they had no one better to talk to, when they needed something from you. And the moment you remove yourself from that equation, they simply move to the next source of supply. They are not bad people. They are just using you, and you let them. Machiavelli understood that human beings are fundamentally self-interested. They are not evil, they are just pragmatic. They will take what you give them. If you give them unlimited access to you, they will take it. If you give them your time for free, they will consume it. If you give them your energy without asking for anything in return, they will drain you dry, not because they hate you, but because you taught them that this is acceptable. You taught them that your resources are infinite, that you are a well that never runs dry, and now you are surprised that they keep taking. The power of being forgotten is that it forces people to confront the possibility that the well has run dry, that you are no longer available, that they might have lost access to something they were taking for granted. And in that moment of confrontation, they reveal themselves. Some will panic. They will reach out. They will apologize. They will suddenly remember that you exist. These are the people who valued you but were too comfortable. They needed the shock of your absence to wake up. These relationships can be salvaged, but they must be rebuilt on new terms. Terms where your presence is a privilege, not a right. But others will not reach out. They will not notice. They will not care. And this is the gift. This is the clarity. These people were never your friends. They were never your partners. They were never invested in you. They were tourists. And tourists move on to the next attraction. Let them. Grieve if you need to. But do not chase them. Do not try to remind them that you exist. Because the moment you do, you are back in the same trap. You are devaluing yourself again. You are proving that your absence was a bluff. And they will take you for granted again. You need to internalize something that most people never learn. You cannot make someone value you. You cannot force someone to care. You cannot argue someone into appreciating you. Value is assigned, not argued. And if someone has assigned you a low value, the only way to change that is to remove yourself from their valuation entirely. Become scarce, become expensive, become difficult to reach. And if they still do not pursue you, then they never wanted you. They wanted what you gave them. And there is a difference. Let's go deeper into the economics of this. Why does scarcity create value? Because value is not intrinsic. Value is perceived. A diamond is a rock. But because diamonds are scarce, they are valuable. Water is essential for life. But because water is abundant, it is cheap. You are water. You have been pouring yourself out for everyone. And they have been stepping over you to get to the diamond. The diamond is scarce. The diamond is hard to get. The diamond makes them work for it. You need to become the diamond. But how do you do this without becoming cold, without becoming distant, without losing your humanity? Here is the answer. You do not become cold. You become selective. You do not become distant. You become intentional. You do not lose your humanity. You protect it. You have been giving your warmth to everyone. Strangers, acquaintances, people who would not cross the street to help you, and you have been wondering why you feel empty. You have been wondering why you feel used. It is because you have been giving your most precious resource, your care, your love, your attention, to people who do not deserve it. Selective absence is not cruelty. It is conservation. You are not cutting people off. You are prioritizing. You are asking yourself, does this person add value to my life? Do they respect my time? Do they reciprocate my energy? Do they show up for me the way I show up for them? And if the answer is no, you withdraw. Not with drama, not with announcements. You just stop being available. You stop initiating. You stop performing. And you see what happens. Most people are terrified to do this because they are terrified of being alone. They would rather have shallow relationships than no relationships. They would rather be tolerated than be forgotten. But what they do not realize is that shallow relationships are lonelier than solitude. Being surrounded by people who do not see you is more isolating than being alone. At least in solitude, you are honest. At least in solitude, you are not pretending that you matter to people who have already forgotten you while you are standing right in front of them. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." But I will give you a darker translation. It is better to be absent than to be taken for granted, because being taken for granted is a slow death. It is the erosion of your self-worth. It is the voice in your head that whispers, maybe I am not enough. Maybe I need to do more. Maybe if I just try harder, they will see me. Stop. You are enough. You have always been enough. They are just not your people. The power of being forgotten is that it separates your people from the crowd. It is a filter. It is a test. And most people will fail it. But the ones who pass, the ones who notice your absence and reach out, not because they need something, but because they miss you, those are your people. Those are the relationships worth investing in. Everyone else is noise. Everyone else is clutter. Everyone else is taking up space in your life that could be filled with people who actually value you. Now let's talk about what happens when you return, because you will return. This is not about becoming a hermit. This is not about cutting everyone off forever. This is about recalibrating. You have been absent. You have been silent. You have let people miss you. Some have reached out. Some have not. You have clarity now. You know who your people are. And now, when you return on your terms. When you come back, you do not apologize for your absence. You do not explain where you have been. You do not justify your need for space. You simply return. And because you have been scarce, your return is an event. People are curious. People are interested. People are paying attention. You have reset the power dynamic. You are no longer the one chasing. You are the one being pursued. You are no longer the one performing. You are the one being courted. This is the power of strategic absence. But here is the warning. You cannot fake this. You cannot pretend to be unavailable while secretly checking your phone every 5 minutes. You cannot disappear and then crack the moment someone breadcrumbs you with attention. You have to actually detach. You have to actually build a life that is full without them. You have to actually become someone who does not need them, because if you are bluffing, they will call your bluff. And you will be right back where you started. This is why strategic absence is not a tactic. It is a transformation. It is not something you do. It is something you become. You become the person who does not need external validation. You become the person who is comfortable in solitude. You become the person who has standards, who has boundaries, who has self-respect. And when you become that person, absence is not a strategy. It is a natural byproduct of having a life that is too full to waste on people who do not value you. Machiavelli understood that power is not about force. It is about positioning. A prince does not beg his subjects to obey him. He creates conditions where obedience is the only logical option. You do not beg people to value you. You create conditions where your absence is more painful than their pride, where reaching out to you is more rewarding than their ego, where pursuing you is more interesting than the alternatives. You do this by being scarce, by being valuable, by being someone worth missing. And if they still do not pursue you, if they still do not notice, if they still do not care, then you have your answer. And the answer is not that you are not enough. The answer is that they were never capable of seeing you. And that is not your failure, that is theirs. You cannot force a blind person to see color. You cannot force a deaf person to hear music. And you cannot force someone who is emotionally unavailable to value you. So stop trying, stop performing, stop chasing. Let them go, not with bitterness, not with anger, but with the cold clarity that they were never yours to lose. This is the final lesson. The power of being forgotten is not about getting people to remember you. It is about freeing yourself from the need to be remembered. It is about realizing that your value is not determined by how many people think about you. It is determined by how you think about yourself. When you stop needing external validation, you stop being controllable. When you stop performing for an audience, you stop being a puppet. When you stop chasing people who do not chase you back, you stop being exhausted. You become free. Free to build a life that does not require an audience. Free to invest in relationships that are mutual. Free to walk away from people who take you for granted. Free to be forgotten by the people who never saw you in the first place. And in that freedom, you find something you have been searching for your entire life. Peace, not the peace of being loved by everyone, but the peace of being okay with being loved by no one. The peace of being enough for yourself. So here is your assignment. For the next 30 days, you are going to disappear. Not from life, but from the people who have taken you for granted. You are going to stop initiating, stop performing, stop chasing. You are going to focus on yourself, your goals, your growth, your peace, and you are going to see who notices. You are going to see who reaches out. You are going to see who actually values you. And at the end of those 30 days, you are going to have a list, a very short list, of people who are actually worth your time. Everyone else, let them forget you, let them wonder, let them regret, or let them move on. It does not matter, because you will have moved on too. You will have realized that being forgotten by people who never saw you is not a loss, it is a liberation. You will have realized that the power was never in being remembered. The power was in being okay with being forgotten. Because when you are okay with being forgotten, you stop living for other people. You start living for yourself. And that is when you become untouchable. The world is full of people screaming for attention, posting, performing, begging to be seen. You are going to be different. You are going to be the silence in the noise, the absence in the presence, the question mark that people cannot stop thinking about. You are going to be scarce. You are going to be valuable. You are going to be the one they miss when you are gone. And if they don't miss you, then they were never worth missing. Let them go. Walk away. Become the ghost. Become the legend. Become the one who disappeared and never looked back. This is the power of being forgotten, not the power to make people remember you, but the power to not care if they do. Not the power to be loved by everyone, but the power to be okay with being loved by the right ones. Not the power to be everywhere, but the power to be somewhere that matters. And when you find that power, when you truly internalize it, you will realize that you were never forgotten. You were just invisible to the wrong people. And now that you have removed yourself from their line of sight, you can finally be seen by the people who were always looking for you. If this philosophy resonates with you, if you are tired of performing, if you are tired of chasing, if you are tired of being taken for granted, then you know what you need to do. Not for me, but for yourself. Because you deserve better than being someone's backup plan. You deserve better than being someone's habit. You deserve to be someone's priority. And if you are not, then you deserve the courage to walk away, to disappear, to be forgotten by people who never deserved to remember you in the first place. Become the ghost. Let them wonder, let them miss you, or let them forget you. Either way, you win, because you are no longer playing their game. You are playing yours. And in your game, you are not the prize they take for granted. You are the prize they lost. And that is a lesson they will never forget.